A very good evening to you. We have an hour and a half of news, views and reviews of events in and out of Nigeria, treated with the extra touch of fine detail. Tonight, raw materials for development. Federal government engages Manufacturers Association of Nigeria on access to funds to source raw materials and boost domestic production. A shiny future. Gold mining in Nigeria. President Buhari charges Committee on Gold Mining Development Initiative to go beyond artisanal and small scale to the next level. As 2021 draws to a close, we review key functions of national life in the outgoing year. The COVID-19 interruptions and the nation's multifaceted efforts to combat a virus in killing mood. And in the agriculture sector, our correspondent brings in a harvest of successes in spite of some early challenges. We also beam our searchlight on youth development, environment, humanitarian services and the power sector. In sports, Nigerian Football Federation appoints new coach for the Super Eagles. Less than 2 weeks to the African Cup of Nations. So let's tuck in together. You know, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba and this is News Extra, the last for 2021. The federal government has promised to take appropriate measures towards improving access to foreign exchange for the importation of raw materials and machines that are not locally available. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the assurance while exchanging views with the leadership of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, said every effort at promoting a robust manufacturing sector in the country will be supported by his administration. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
Our nation owes you all a debt of gratitude for your show of commitment, the level of confidence reposed in the economy demonstrated by the expansion of your respective investments in the Nigerian economy despite daunting challenges.
President Muhammadu Buhari noted with delight the unwavering support of the nation's manufacturers in, amongst others, the formulation and implementation of national economic policies, employment generation, and wealth creation. The future of Nigeria, he emphasized, depends on such commitment as well as the collective desire to build a thriving, all-inclusive economy.
I would like to assure you that, like we have done in the recent past, we will give consideration to some of the constraints that are yet to be fully addressed, especially those that align with our policies and programs for economic recovery and sustainable development. Let me assure you that this administration is fully aware that the survival of Nigeria lies in agriculture and having a viable domestic manufacturing sector. Specifically, Nigeria will take appropriate measure to improve access to forex for importation of raw materials and machines that are not available locally.
The president expressed the belief that a strong manufacturing sector will not only create more jobs and wealth for the people, but also usher in sustainable economic prosperity.
Our strategic plan to boost manufacturing activities in the country is on course. We are vigorously pursuing reforms on ease of doing business and currently putting in place necessary policy measures and incentives that will guarantee full recovery from the consequences of coronavirus, sustain economic development, and further shield the economy from the potential impact of fluctuations in the price of crude oil in the global market.
He, however, implored the leadership of man to encourage manufacturers to continue to support government in its quest to provide the appropriate environment that will attract necessary foreign and domestic investments so as to uplift Nigeria's economy. The president of MAN, Mansur Ahmed, on behalf of the manufacturers, thanked President Buhari for all the support extended to the manufacturing sector since coming to power and seek the urgent support of the federal government towards overcoming the binding constraints to competitive manufacturing in Nigeria.
The Manufacturing Association of Nigeria is full of expectations that government will continue to make manufacturing a centerpiece of its economic agenda. I have no doubt that with your kind support, we shall continue to accelerate the building of a resilient manufacturing sector in Nigeria in the best interest of our economy and our people.
The Association of Manufacturers used the opportunity to formally present its new logo as well as annual report to President Muhammadu Buhari. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the steering committee of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative has been directed to develop innovative ways towards ensuring that the Nigerian mining story goes beyond artisanal and small scale to the next level. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the directive in an audience with the committee, said gold mining must deliver tremendous physical and economic benefits to the nation. Again, State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
A delegation of the steering committee led by the Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development was in the State House to give an update on the implementation of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, PAGMI, through what the members called Responsible Mining Framework. PAGMI was designed as a broader strategy towards addressing the structural and institutional factors that tend to push artisanal gold mining operators in Nigeria deeper into the informal economy. These include rural poverty, lack of alternative livelihoods, as well as difficulties in meeting legal and regulatory frameworks. Records show that between 2012 to 2018, 97 tons of gold valued at over $3 billion was illegally smuggled out of Nigeria. Apart from the economic sabotage, illegal artisanal mining has also fueled instability as well as mercury and lead poisoning incidents across the gold mining communities.
Today, PAGMI has improved the working condition of artisanal miners, thereby reducing the number of impit deaths seen annually. We are now moving to ramp up PAGMI across the country in addition to curtailing all artisanal and small-scale gold mining export outside PAGMI.
A couple of months ago, we paid a cooperative over 20 million naira for gold produced under PAGMI. They've never ever earned that type of money. For security purposes, we have linked each miner with their BVN and NIN number so they're identifiable. We know everyone that is working with us and they all know each other so that we don't have people crossing the border to come and join a program that is for Nigerians and is security sensitive.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who congratulated the committee for a job well done, expressed optimism that a new mining framework will lead to effective and transparent gold supply chain and demonstrate efforts at combating money laundering, terrorist financing, human rights abuses, and respect for the environment.
I support the steering committee's target of aggregating 3 to 5 tons of gold over the next 12 months, as this will deliver tremendous fiscal and economic benefits to the nation. Now that we have successfully delivered a pilot scheme in Gombe State, it is time to roll out and expand sustainably across other states. The government is committed to providing all the necessary support required.
And further to the implementation of PAGMI, President Buhari said the Solid Minerals Development Fund be utilized effectively towards supporting the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, saying dedicating a portion of the accruals to create a sustainable income stream is essential to delivering the mandates assigned to the fund.
This initiative is of great pride to me because through our intervention we can reach hard-working Nigerians in the field, toiling in the quarries under the sun trying to earn an honest living. We have been able to protect them from clutches of those who exploit their hard labor while simultaneously bringing them into the value chain to earn improved income from their hard work.
And to further ensure probity and best practice in the mining sector, the president said he expects a 6-month progress report that will clearly show efforts at scaling up the artisanal gold mining development program from its current pilot stage. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Nigeria's 2021 experience has continued to trigger positive debate from professionals and experts across segments of the society. NTA Tuesday Live is setting the platform for retrospective analysis of 2021 and projections for 2022. Abakar Akwanga is here.
A review of annual activities is always accompanied by gains and losses, but few days to the end of the year 2021, the climate is still reassuring despite challenges inherited from the year 2020. Now, these guests are of the opinion that the federal government has justified its huge investment in infrastructure, macro and micro growth benchmark, and economic sustainability plan.
We had moved from negative growth to over 5% growth in 2021 as a result of the implementation of the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan, saving 2.4 million jobs across the nation by giving payroll support to MSMEs across the country, by constructing 500 kilometers of rural roads linking farms to markets, by putting 774,000 young people to work.
With 4.8 million farmers accessing resources without collateral, and then doing well over 5 million hectares is an incredible feat that is just a response to the security challenge. There's a bigger challenge that our population is growing at about 3% a year, and then the urbanization is growing at 4.66%. This time, by 2030, 70% of our population will be in the urban area.
To remove the subsidy on petroleum products, a very painful decision, which I think it's very critical, if really some sufficient resources is to be liberated for further, economic development of the rest of the Nigerian society, as against a current tradition of subsidizing a very minute fraction of the population.
On the issue of security, which seems to have overwhelmed sectorial performance in the year under review, stakeholders posit that the nation has done well in containing rising insecurity and securing greater parts of the country.
We need to do more with France, because it is actually France that is our neighbor. And I'll give an example. We have Operation Buchanan going on, and then the French were planning to start another operation within that operation. We are trying to withdraw from Mali, and then in the Lake Chad area, you have an operation ongoing, and then you want to start another, and then you have the Sahel G5, most francophone. If Nigeria is not going to be a member of the G5 Sahel, we should at least be on observer basis.
With projections for positive growth and development in the immediate future, there is hope that political stability, social harmony, and economic prosperity will reign supreme for rapid transformation of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
2021, a year of a mixed bag for some sort for the power sector. Great goodwill from the Federal Executive Council with approvals, but some top executives in the sector were not lucky enough to give their end of the year accounts. Joshua Ojito chronicles some of these events and the impact of the power sector in 2021 and prospects for 2022.
2021, an eventful year for the power sector, as the man in the helm of affairs, Saleh Mamman, exits the stage as power minister and Abubakar Aliyu steps in. With renewed vigor to implement the power sector set by the present administration to fix power infrastructure and improve supply, the new power minister set an agenda that will drive the implementation of the reforms.
Mine is to provide leadership and to ensure that we deliver power to Nigeria and to have it uninterrupted.
Considered as the driver of the economy, the sector got the support of the federal government with several memos approved by the Federal Executive Council for upgrade, rehabilitation and expansion of transmission infrastructure. So, many substations were constructed and inaugurated in addition to solar-powered projects. However, the challenge of poor infrastructure and supply, billing, energy theft and disconnect in the value chain are what industry players say remain impediments to the growth of the sector even in 2021. Also, the industrial action by the National Union of Electricity Employees of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, over non-payment of workers' entitlements, among other demands that disrupted supply for 14 hours in its franchise areas, key players say raised issues on the performance of all the 11 distribution companies and the need to review the privatization of the sector.
The issue of privatization, well, I think government should probably look at it vividly.
Everybody is working to make sure that the system becomes what we want it to be. In other words, pinch the wall and then power is there 24/7.
We are working with the distribution companies. Government is doing everything it can, especially through the power sector recovery plan, to make sure that there is good, the sector recovers from its financial weakness as it is today. So we are looking at a sector that at least at the minimum that must uptake the over 7,000 generation availability we have.
Projecting into the new year with expectation to completing and inaugurating some hydro dams like Dagdinkwa, Zungeru and Kashimbila, among others, electricity customers are hopeful of better days. Joshua Ojitu, NTA News.
Battling COVID-19 since its outbreak has been daunting, even for countries known for sophisticated medical practice. The breakthrough by scientists in the production of vaccines, however, has given hope that the dreaded COVID-19 can be subdued. The vaccination stage of the response to the coronavirus pandemic took prominence in this year, 2021. How has Nigeria fared with its COVID-19 vaccination program? Olushe Adiagbo is our guide on this.
After much anticipation, Nigeria eventually received COVID-19 vaccine in the first quarter of the year under review. Conspiracy theory for vaccine hesitancy, making it a global problem. In order to deal with its own share of the problem, not only did the nation embark on massive advocacy, but adopted other strategies aimed at convincing the populace about the safety of the vaccines. These include administering the vaccine on the president, vice president, and other public figures.
In many countries have gone very high in their vaccination, 60-70%. We are still at the basic level.
Nigeria's first phase of vaccination ended in July with almost 4 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine donated by the UK government through the COVAX facility. Adjudged a success, the second phase of the vaccination program was launched in August to enhance coverage.
We really want to go all out to convince people about the COVID-19.
And so our business will be to continue to communicate the message, and people will begin to respond gradually.
Our response activities from day one have been such that we call all of government and all of society.
Another disturbing moment came when the media space was awash with the breaking story that more than 1 million expired vaccines were among those being administered on Nigerians. An allegation the health authorities denied, but assured the public of the commitment to safety as appropriate action would be taken on the expired vaccines in their possession. couple of weeks to the end of the year, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with NAFDAC and Abuja Environmental Agency, publicly destroyed over 1 million of expired COVID-19 vaccines.
So the most important thing is for us to look forward to manufacturing our own vaccines.
With the federal government's marching order on compulsory COVID-19 vaccination for all federal civil servants, came the flag off of a mass vaccination sites across states of the Federation, just as the booster dose was kick-started to enhance citizens' protection against the virus.
In 2022, I think the process is going to be good because people have really accepted that coronavirus is a reality.
Over 13 million Nigerians have now been vaccinated. 13 million Nigerians cannot be wrong. I expect that Nigerians now realize that death from COVID-19, severe illness from COVID-19, happens only to people who are unvaccinated. Please don't take a chance with your life. Get vaccinated.
With a set target of vaccinating 70% of Nigeria's population by 2022, the new year looks promising in the quest to attain herd immunity via the nation's COVID-19 vaccination program. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Nigeria, a malaria endemic country, has been battling the burden of the disease for decades. Many lives have been cut short by this deadly but treatable disease. In this report, Hingina John examines the benefits of the first ever approved vaccine against malaria.
Malaria parasite can be likened to a dangerous animal that aggressively digs its claws on its prey, causing pains and even death. Children under the age of 5 and pregnant women are the most vulnerable group.
It can affect their kidneys, so they can have what we call acute kidney injury, with their red cells breaking down.
Africa is the worst hit, as records by the World Health Organization show that the continent recorded 94% of global malaria cases and deaths in 2019. And sadly, Nigeria topped the chart with 23%. The end of malaria seems to be approaching, as WHO recently approved a vaccine for children at risk, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa, after years of testing in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi.
If the vaccines come into the country, we can begin to look at some immunogenicity in relation to the vaccine. How best does it work among Nigerians? What is the degree of coverage?
We'll be able to offer our children protection. Our infant mortality rate, which we have been battling with, will continue to improve and go down.
Experts say this milestone is worth celebrating after decades of battling the deadly disease. In Lagos, Hingino John, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Hingino, for that report on malaria vaccine. And we have joining us live via Zoom Dr. Godwin Tadam. He is the chief epidemiologist of the Federation, and he's going to talk to us more on the issue of the malaria vaccine. Good evening, Doctor, and it's nice to have you on News Extra tonight. Doctor, can you hear me? So please, Doctor, if you can't hear me, I think you should please mute your audio. When you put it on mute at your end, we would now hear you well. Well, I think when we rectify his audio, we'll get back to the interview segment, because that is so important, talking about the malaria vaccine. Now, coming ahead on News Extra, as 2021 draws to a close, correspondent beams the searchlight on how the bench fared in the outgoing year. Find out also how much efforts went into the fostering of religious harmony in the land. So just stay as you have the opportunity to not only refresh your memory, but catch up with happenings you must have missed out on.
It's the Glow Joy on
charge up to 500 naira during the week to qualify. 5 cars every month. 100 generators, TVs, and fridges every week. Dial *611# now to enter the Glow Joy Unlimited extravaganza.
Dear friend, as 2021 ends, we share your gratitude for its blessings. We acknowledge your low moments too and wish you strength to carry through. At Bedmate, we'll keep making your living better because we believe that furniture is not just an item made of wood, glass, marble, or steel, but a symbol of your unity and good times with your loved ones. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year full of all the finest things you desire.
Over 1,500 winners have emerged and 27 million naira won. You too can be the next. Get ready to blow this season in the Airtel Recharge and Blow promo. You stand a chance to win up to 100 million naira, guaranteed tokens, and 25% discounts to restaurants across Nigeria. How awesome is that? All you have to do is meet your recharge target to win. Dial *444*4# to enter for the draw. Everyone's a winner, so hurry. Start recharging.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
I did look for pension fund administrator. We're soft, make sense, we care for me. Shy. No be the type where story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Customer care where they on point. No go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment. Everything, it just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
This is beautiful.
Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow. Those guys are good in bed.
What?
Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Now everybody knows I'm the
Enjoy the reward that sharing brings with the Airtel Family Plan. Get bonus talk time, SMS, and data for each family member you share with. Dial *141# now.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Great to have you back on News Extra. And joining us via Zoom is Dr. Godwin Tadam. He's the Chief Epidemiologist of the Federation, and he's here to talk to us about the malaria vaccine. Well, Doctor, you're welcome to News Extra tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So, the long-awaited malaria vaccine is finally here. What can you tell us about its development?
Well, the malaria vaccine, ATSS-01, AS01 is the first parasitic vaccine that has been developed. It's been in development for about 20 years, but we are glad that it's finally here. And it was not the only candidate vaccine that was tested. Several candidate vaccines were tested, but eventually the RTSS came out as one of the most promising, and we are glad that in 2021 the WHO has actually recommended its use for countries. Okay. So it's a good news to every one of us.
It is sure good news, most especially to we Nigerians. Being Nigeria, we all know, is one of the countries in the world that, you know, is a malaria endemic. So where does the country now stand in this sharing development?
Well, malaria in Nigeria is a major problem. Nigeria contributes about 25% of the global malaria cases, and is endemic, is always there. And one thing I want us to understand is that the vaccine is also, if you look at the malaria program, the National Strategic Plan for 2021 to 2025, the vaccine has been included. So the country is equally prepared for the deployment of the vaccine. So, well, the challenge we have as one of the initial challenges will be having the vaccine. We know it is expensive, and just like any other vaccine. And in as much as we are preparing to get it, we are equally expecting some partners to come into the country's support to provide it, because it is very essential for us to include it as one of the armamentarium for the control of malaria, armamentaria for the control of malaria in the country.
Okay, so but doctor, we know that Kenya and Ghana are not burdened with this malaria, you know, like Nigeria. But yet the vaccine has already been deployed to these countries. Why not Nigeria? Is it because it's expensive, like you said, or what?
Not at all. Kenya, Ghana, Malawi, they are endemic, just like Nigeria. And I just want you to understand that it's a pilot. You know, the deployment is just pilot in the phase 4 trial. Nigeria, during the initial deployment, well, when the vaccine came out and was recommended initially, not by WHO, but when the company that produced it was still testing it, it was tested in Nigeria. And, you know, when WHO wants to test it, you don't go back to country where it was actually tested initially. You want to try it in some other places. It was tested in Jos. Professor Oguche, Stephen Oguche handled it. It was tested in the in the southern part of the country. Professor Egeono handled it. And the results were fantastic. And I must tell you, when WHO is coming to test it, to pilot the phase 4 of it, it has to deploy it to other places, not where it has already been tested, like Nigeria. But in the long run, it will go around, because it's the recommendation, and any country that wants to have it can have it when you have the resources.
Okay, I wouldn't let you go. I have to ask you this. Can you give us an insight on its administration? Is it for all ages? Because we know vaccines sometimes will say, okay, it's just from age this to this and this to this. So is it for all ages?
When you talk about malaria, you are talking about the vulnerable population, which are usually children that are less than 5 years. And these are the targeted population for the vaccines also. And it must be clear that the malaria vaccine does not act like the other vaccines that we know, like the measles vaccine or the polio vaccines. It's just to assist the other measures that are being deployed. So it's just an additional. It does not replace the other control measures. Children are still expected to sleep under the net. Children are still expected to, parents are still expected to treat malaria promptly with appropriate anti-malaria medicine. But because the children that are less than 5 years are very limited immunity against the infection, unlike the adults, when you grow in an environment where malaria is endemic, over time, you develop what is known as partial immunity. So your body can actually fight back in a way, but not in children that are less than 5 years. So the vaccine is just to help them to be able to change the course of the infection from, because the ultimate is when a child has malaria and you don't do something early enough, it becomes severe and may equally lead to death. So the vaccine is actually to help the children to prevent them from developing the severe form of the infection.
Okay. So how long can it confer immunity against, the malaria parasite?
You see, you give it until like we said, it's not, it does not confer lifelong immunity. Okay. It wanes up over time. But the important thing is to push, of course, to prevent the child from having the severe malaria within that age bracket of 5 years. If they go off that age, they are not likely to develop severe malaria again. So it's just to protect them within that period.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Godwin Tadam, the Chief Epidemiologist of the Federation, for coming on News Extra. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So moving on, the issuance of Sukuk has proven to be a success story in all ramifications, with the biggest impact of its proceeds changing the ugly faces of 44 roads across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Abdullahi Mohammed, let us have the scenario of that.
Stepping backward to the year 2015, there were a series of abandoned road projects spread across the country with bad roads, leaving the country with only 4,000 kilometers of motorable roads out of the 35,000 kilometers federal roads. Years later, the span of roads reconstructed scaled up to about 14,000 kilometers, with thousands more on the verge of completion. Behind this unprecedented record was a brain-racking move to source for fund, which injected life into many road construction sites whose workers had to down tools. The issuance of Sukuk was key in switching on the machines and back to site men and engineers on 44 roads across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Exempling the impact of Sukuk fund is the Kaduna Eastern Bypass, a project where works commenced more than 20 years ago, but debt of fund kept the works in the coolers until Sukuk came to the rescue.
Right now, we are almost done with the roadworks. We are doing the bridges across the Kaduna River. It's an engineering job. The piling work has been completed. We're working on the decking. So we're hoping that at the rate we are going, that road should be completed.
Works progresses speedily at the Kaduna Eastern Bypass, and a chunk of the roads inaugurated recently were all the succor of Sukuk.
We are commissioning Shuaring Azare. We have commissioned Sokoto Tambuwal. We have commissioned Vandekia Obudu. We have commissioned the Enugu, part of Enugu Potako Expressway. So really going forward, you'll be seeing a lot of commissioning.
Sukuk has proven to be a reliable means of raising funds for development, and no doubt it will continue to yield its proceeds when Nigeria comes calling. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdullahi. The year 2021 was a progressive one for the judicial sector in terms of its support for the current administration's fight against corruption. This is due to the number of individuals convicted for corruption through the instrumentality of the law. Olabode Arewa takes a look at some of these achievements.
In the year 2021, the wheels of justice continues to grind slowly but steadily in ensuring that justice is served. Conviction of corrupt individuals have been on the increase. The recent order of the Federal High Court Abuja designating bandits as terrorists has been described as a major step in giving legal support to the nation's bid to get rid of criminals masquerading as bandits. In 2021, the judiciary also used the instrumentality of the law to ensure the forfeiture of corruptly acquired assets of serving and former public officials. This included $153 million, 23 billion naira, 80 properties, and $40 million worth of jewelry recovered from former Petroleum Minister Diezani Alice Madueke and forfeited to the federal government. Conviction and sentencing to jail of the former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Tax Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, and his son Faisal for their complicity in the theft of pension funds. Former MD of Bank PHB, Francis Atuche, was also jailed 6 years for 25.7 billion naira theft. In November, the Enugu Division of the Federal High Court convicted 17 internet fraudsters for cybercrime. This December also, a Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, sentenced a fake oil magnate, Vincent Ayigo, to 175 years imprisonment for defrauding an American, Joseph Cruz, of $629,000 in a crude oil supply scam. The judiciary has also put modalities in place for the transparent disposal of the forfeited assets by engaging valuers to undo the assets disposal. For example, the court supported the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences Commission, ICPC, in the recovery of over 1.1 billion naira from corrupt individuals in the first quarter of 2021 alone, and also did same for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in the conviction of at least 978 defendants.
I am happy to report that by the UNODC report, Nigeria has recorded tremendous improvement as acknowledged internationally in the fight against corruption.
The judiciary, they are doing their best, but more efforts are needed.
The key instruments which have helped to ensure these successes included the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015, the Evidence Act, particularly Section 84, Code of Conduct Bureau, as well as the ICPC and the EFCC Act. The long arm of the law is also working hard to nail all those involved in the $2.1 billion arms scandal, otherwise called the Sukuk Gate. In Abuja, Olabodarawa, NTA News.
Let's head to Gombe now, where Governor Mohammed Yahya of Gombe State has reiterated the need for harmonious working relationship among the arms of government in the state. He stated this during the 2021-2022 legal year ceremony in the state. Emmanuel Akile reports that the judiciary in the state received over 14,000 civic and criminal cases in the year 2021.
Justice Muazu Pindiga, acting Chief Judge of Gombe State, inspecting a guard of honor to mark the 2021-2022 legal year in Gombe State.
State Executive Council.
During a special court session, Governor Mohammed Yahya appreciates the cordial relationship between the arms of government in the state, reassuring the judiciary of continued support to fast-track dispensation of justice.
In order to decongest our prisons, I would like to appeal to our judges and all stakeholders to ensure speedy determination of cases. As my lords would say, justice delayed is justice denied.
The Judicial Service Commission and they are under review in the performance of his duties approved the appointment of 3 High Court judges, 2 Qadis of the Sharia Court of Appeal and a number of magistrates of various grades.
The Nigerian Bar Association recounts the challenges and successes experienced during the ending year and the prospects in the coming year. The annual legal year celebration provides opportunity for the judiciary to review its activities in the previous year and to make projections for the new year. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
God created humanity irrespective of what the creature decides to worship. This is beyond human scope expressed in different faith or creed, which should not serve as a catalyst for conflict or oppression. I beg your pardon. Deborah Gazaki Maika in this report examines the role interfaith unity plays in nation building.
Religion is a powerful tool that amplifies morals and obligates followers to emulate its teachings with all sacrifice.
The question in the minds of many Nigerians is what could have been responsible for the display of hatred among humans based on religion rather than the expression of love as preached by all religions.
Understanding of who God is and the God they serve. And that understanding is very essential, and it is on both sides. Have that understanding, it will help to us to live in harmony. When all our leaders have the understanding of the holy books and they can interpret it in accordance to the spirit that wrote that book.
So when people go to church, let them say the truth. When they come to the mosque, let them say the truth. Even within the circle where you are working, the truth must always be told, so that we can be able to make Nigeria great. Coexistence, we need it in anything we do.
Although many roundtable discussions have been championed over the time by eminent religious leaders, like those spearheaded by His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto Mohammed Saad Abubakar III and His Eminence Cardinal John Onayekon, inspiring the spirit of togetherness, irrespective of religious divide. This is evident in recent times as a Catholic priest facilitated the construction of a mosque in Gogolada Area Council of the FCT.
When we dialogued with him, so he said, if we can arrange for a place to raise a place of prayer for them.
Actually, they are benefiting with this such a place operation.
I've also discovered one great thing that I do not know whether many people have noticed it. It is what we say unnecessary competition. We have a lot of quacks who have seen religion as a way of actually making money, being influential, and being in control.
Government must invest in bringing Christian and Muslim leaders together regularly to discuss these issues. There are burning issues that we must always discuss.
First, the religious leaders insist remains a recipe for interreligious harmony, hence adequate knowledge through studying religious books written by erudite scholars is critical for peaceful coexistence, which is the bedrock for progress and unity. Deborah Gazaj Micah, NTA News.
In the year 2021, the coronavirus pandemic caused unprecedented interruptions in most sectors, increasing the rate of unemployment and underemployment globally. Nevertheless, drivers and stakeholders in youth development have been flexible and proactive. Olayinka Ojo in the special report evaluates different youth development programs by government which opened more vistas of opportunities for young Nigerians.
One of the challenges young people face globally is unemployment and underemployment, and Nigeria is no exception. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the rate of jobless youths has risen to 33.5% from 27.1%. In spite of these, the year saw the introduction of various government programs and funding opportunities in order to make Nigerian youths wealth creators and employers of labor.
It's one industry I see, or one phase of life I see that can accommodate everybody.
And because funding is key and access to startup is usually a challenge, a 75 billion naira Nigerian Youth Investment Fund was set up. From the amount, the sum of 3 billion naira was released to 7,057 Nigerian youths for investment in innovative ideas.
When you have tech platforms developed, you can easily track whoever, wherever, and see how they are doing.
A 4-year plan that will further achieve this was unveiled. It is the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan 2021 to 2024.
This is because youth inclusion is about skilled human capital, social and economic stability.
With the support of federal government, the NYSC Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Program over the years have been championing the crusade of self-reliance. As available jobs cannot cater for the teeming population, acquiring a skill is the way to go.
Skill I've acquired will really help me, and I believe after the service here is going to help me because I cannot say that work is actually difficult, but with this work I think I can feed myself and feed my family.
I'm just interested in bead making because it's part of culture. Skills I learned from the camp, I think I will be able to have something doing even if I didn't get job.
To further expand its impact as well as increase its success stories, at complementing other governments' effort at making young Nigerians self-reliant, the NYSC is working on establishing a trust fund.
The fund will make the side program more impactful, especially through provision of training logistics and startup finances.
Since youths are trustees of posterity and all these measures in place, experts are hopeful of a better year 2022 in the area of youth development in Nigeria. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
And as part of its mandate to ensure a sustainable and coordinated approach towards humanitarian interventions in the country, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development responded to various humanitarian quests in the year 2021. Ruth Agwele in this report reviews the various interventions by the ministry in meeting the set target of lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty.
A nation with an estimated population of more than 200 million, now this poses a burden of ensuring equitable distribution of resources for the citizens. The ministry is saddled with the responsibility of fixing loopholes where humanitarian concerns are required, embarked on various interventions for the year 2021. The National Social Investment Program's NSIP, an initiative of the federal government targeted at the poor and vulnerable in the country, was sustained. Beneficiaries of the conditional cash transfer received their allowances of 5,000 naira monthly.
The support I'm getting from federal government is really helping my business.
The scope of the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program GIP that provides interest-free and collateral-free credit to beneficiaries was improved for effective implementation through training of master trainers by the ministry as orientation and mobilization officers to address credit and financial challenges faced by the beneficiaries. Pupils of public primary schools across the country had reasons to keep coming to school with the commencement of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program after a break in 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, with more than 9 million pupils receiving a meal per day.
I enjoyed the food. I ate rice and egg.
To ensure good meal and good utensils, the ministry flagged off the distribution of utensils across the country. Also, not leaving out of-school children, the federal government initiated the alternate school program targeted for out-of-school children. The ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and other key stakeholders, have put in modalities in place through the National Steering Committee for the actualization of the project, which is expected to take off in 2022.
The Ultimate School Program possesses the potential for every child to gain access to quality education, irrespective of social, cultural, or economic standing.
The N-Power Batch C Stream 1 was launched. Already, 500,000 beneficiaries have been engaged, with an expansion of 1 million target. Other sub-interventions under the NSIP were the end-knowledge training of beneficiaries across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country on lifelong skills to make them solution providers and entrepreneurs. In a bid to promote an all-inclusive society, the National Senior Citizens Center was established to give voice to the elderly, promote their welfare, and protect their rights.
Since after many years of indifference, Nigeria's senior citizens now have a focal center.
However, it is expected that as the National Social Register expands, more Nigerians will benefit from the various programs to ensure social inclusion for all. In Abuja, Ruth Agwele, NTA News.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has paid a visit to a Next Cash and Carry Mall to ascertain the level of damage done by the fire incident. Ruth Agwele again reports.
Debris, ashes and smell of smoke are the remains of the famous Next Cash and Carry supermarket. The aftermath of a gloomy incident that has left many wondering what could have gone wrong, just as the management counts its losses. As part of its responsibility to ensure prevention and effective response to mitigate disasters, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has come to sympathize with the management.
As a government, we offer our deepest sympathy. It's a loss to the government and people of this country, not just the management of this organization. We are also going to come in as a government to see how we can support this organization.
Obviously, because of the love of Next Cash and Carry in Abuja, the community of Abuja, and our love for our community and for Nigeria, the board of directors, which is Nigerian company, Mr. Ndibi Obi, the owner of the business, we will be building Next Cash and Carry Abuja in due course time again.
While the level of loss in terms of figures is yet to be ascertained due to ongoing investigations, the need for precautionary measures to be in place in establishments like this, the minister says, will avert future occurrences. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Thank you, Ruth, for that. Stay tuned for more on those events that shaped some of the nation's sector in 2021 as we take another time out. But just before that, have you ever fallen victim of quack mechanics like I have? I guess many have stories to tell. The good news is that very soon, such bad elements would no longer be able to carry on their quackery. We will tell you what this wheel of sanity is all about and those behind it. Join us again.
I know that in the last decade, this country has been at different wars trying to keep the peace and promote the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. The troops are doing their best. The president has given them all the necessary tools. It is left for us as young people and as Nigerians to give them all the support we can. We say kudos to all our gallant military men. Please, whenever you see a police officer in or out of uniform, if you know them, clap for them whenever they need be. Give them seats in buses and trains and airplanes. Have the airline managers reduce air tickets for them or train tickets for them. Show them that we appreciate what they do and show their families that there is something right and honorable and truly remarkable about wearing a uniform and going into the bushes and the forest to fight enemies of this country that are hell-bent in bringing your life to an end. It's a very tough time, but we have to all put our hands together. Please support our troops and support our police officers.
Not all washing powders are the same. Sunlight adds bursts of freshness to cleaning power to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and freshness that lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1 sensational cleaning with burst after burst of freshness. Introducing Sunlight with luxurious oud fragrance.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Dear friend, as 2021 ends, we share your gratitude for its blessings. We acknowledge your low moments too and wish you strength to carry through. At Bedmate, we'll keep making your living better because we believe that furniture is not just an item made of wood, glass, marble, or steel, but a symbol of your unity and good times with your loved ones. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year full of all the finest things you desire.
There is no doubt about it. Trees and other plants are so admirable and they produce productive farmlands and water. Imagine this colossal damage. No lands, legs are gone. Houses wash away. Migration is imminent. All this as a result of desertification. We must fight desertification by planting more and more trees to save our lands and restore the glory of our agriculture. These will ensure a sustainable food sufficiency, adequate flow of water, and peace of mind. This message is from the National Agency for Great Green Wall.
Thanks for staying. Oil prices climbed towards $80 on tight supply as investors lose 237.8 billion naira in the capital market. Let's join Musa Abubakar for details on business news. Musa, it's over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. Let's begin with energy. Oil prices declined on Wednesday after government data showed U.S. crude and fuel inventories fell, offsetting worries that rising coronavirus cases might reduce demand. Brent crude slid 0.7% to $78.38 per barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude declined 27 cents to $75.76 per barrel. Both contracts earlier traded near their highest in a month, aided by strength in global equities. And now the stocks trading in the equities market resumed today after the Christmas public holiday, but market sentiment turned bearish at the end of the day's session. The all-share index shed 1.08% to close 41,807.10 points, and equity capitalization declined to 21.8 trillion naira. 180 million shares valued at 1.48 billion naira swap hands in 3,828 deals. Jais Bank, Union Bank, Nigeria PLC, and UACN PLC occupy the top three most traded stocks. That's business news. Well, Fatih.
Thank you so much, Musa. As the central bank continues to upscale its economic interventions in key areas of the economy, this year has seen more initiatives introduced to hasten economic recovery. And Musa Abubakar again has that.
The person of Aisha Sulaiman. Aisha, please come forward.
Graduate and undergraduate entrepreneurs are now getting the needed capital for their business. Aisha Suleiman, who runs a cashew nut processing business, is one of many that received a loan courtesy of Tertiary Institutions Entrepreneurship Scheme of the CBN.
Yeah, I intend to utilize my money in buying more machineries, because before now we actually take our products for nut shelling and grading. So with this money, I'll kind of get mine.
Graduate and undergraduate could get as much as 5 to 25 million naira loan. This is with the aim to tackle youth unemployment and underemployment in the country.
Strong belief that the scheme will offer our youth entrepreneurs access to much needed finance, which has been identified as one of the major limiting factors to entrepreneurship development in Nigeria.
Data shows that the CBN had disbursed over 2 trillion naira in loans to households, to MSMEs, to smallholder farmers, to pharmaceuticals and health institutions in a bid to grow the economy. E-Naira is another intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria. lunch to facilitate digital payment platform and promote financial inclusion.
Commodity exchange, you're thinking about e-Naira, or you're even talking about funding for the creative industry. These are all projects that impact directly on our mandate of delivering price, monetary stability, creating employment for our people, making sure that we create jobs for our people here in Nigeria.
The Anko borrowers in wheat production was also launched by the CBN to save 1.3 trillion naira import bill and boost local production alongside rice, cotton and maize value chains.
Now the CBN has proved beyond reasonable doubt that we can grow wheat in Nigeria, reduce the import bill, or come even at a time Nigeria will start exporting wheat outside the country.
This strategy seeks to reduce wheat importation by 60% in 2 years and eliminate wheat importation over the long term.
With about 37 intervention programs, the CBN shows no sign of slowing down, most especially now that the impact is felt by people like Aisha Suleiman, who have access to capital to grow her business and employ other people. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Interesting. Now, are you one of those frustrated by quack motor mechanics? If yes, then what you're experiencing will soon be over. This is because the National Council for Automotive Design and Development has concluded plans to deploy a specific technology that will separate the sand from the grains in the motor mechanics vocation. And Abdullahi Mohammed has that.
Did the servicing and he left some undone till today. And each time I confronted him, he would be telling me this story and that.
It's a dilemma motorists find themselves in when vehicles begin to crack from the pressure of continuous usage without recourse to the maintenance manual. The next course of action for many will be to get a friend to recommend a good mechanic. But more often than not, the motorists end up with more damage to the vehicle because the mechanic may not be well grounded in detecting and fixing the problem.
Many of the mechanics here, some of them that they don't have that patience to get, like, I need to be in this particular line for 4 years to acquire what I need. So they think once they have learned how to lose tire, how to change engine, they will just disappear.
You will agree with me that these arises as a result of little or no regulation of the motor mechanic world in the country. But going by the plans of the Director General of the National Council for Automotive Design and Development, this will soon be in the past.
So we thought it is very wise to sort of distill the good mechanics that are certified, those that have gone through our training and they have proven that they are good, we certify them. Take them away from the ones that are quack mechanics. So this is a free app that we have developed. We're soon to launch it. Anyone would soon be able to download it for free. And what it does, you turn it on, you register, and then you ask it to tell you where the closest certified mechanic is in your area.
If this happens, then motorists will say goodbye to those type of mechanics who throw the spanners in the works instead of fixing the problem. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
Very interesting. In our next segment, we shall take you to Arungugu Emirates in Kebbi for an interesting story about a distinct form of identity of the people that is fast fading with time. Elsewhere comes the cheering news about insurance policy for victims of avoidable accidents. See you shortly.
From the heart of the Federal Capital Territory
to the ancient city of Kano,
from the sprawling rooftops of Ibadan
to the bustling markets of Aba and the creeks of the Niger Delta, you really can't beat the rich.
Over the years, we have kept going, keeping you informed, educated, and entertained.
And how have we survived in the very challenging year?
Because of our pillars of support, namely the 3 tiers of government: ministries, departments, and agencies,
corporate bodies and advertisers,
religious bodies,
civil society groups,
political parties, and most importantly, you, our esteemed viewers. Together, we made 2021 great.
And together, we shall make 2022 greater.
of us here at NTA, your season's greetings and a prosperous new year.
Introducing the one gift for all this festive, GoTV Super. Enjoy more channels, more variety, more entertainment on GoTV Super. GoTV, love it.
The 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is here again. The Nigeria Armed Forces work tirelessly day and night to give us peace to go about our businesses. Some have paid the supreme price. Should we forget the families and loved ones they left behind? No.
I am therefore privileged to honor these veterans who devoted most of their lives, active lives, to securing the nation and the world at large.
So, let's support the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families, corporate organizations, government agencies, parastatals, and individuals. Let's show our love and support for our armed forces. They are our heroes. Buy the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and donate into the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem Appeal account. We love you, and your labor and sacrifice will not be in vain for spilling your blood for us to live.
African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA, powered by AfroSport. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Welcome back. For ages, traditional marks, tsage or zube in Hausa, used to be the easiest means to identify an indigene of the famous Arugungu Emirate in Gombe State. So distinctive it was that such a person can easily be identified by his kinsmen when seen anywhere on the planet. What is the history behind such a tradition, its classification and relevance? Is the tradition still in practice? Well, Abubakar in Arugungu, Gombe State, has answers to these questions.
For generations, traditional mark on the two sides of the face all across the historically important Arugungu Emirate in Hausa land is a cultural practice which has played a significant role in the preservation of the heritage common among such a people. To say the least, it serves as the quickest and easiest means to identify who is from the Emirate and who is not. In the Kavi Kingdom, considered the domain of Arugungu, tradition has it that there are four major kinds of traditional marks known as Age or Zube among the Hausas. The Lekanti, identified with the Lekayawa, one of the ruling clans of the Emirate, and tells the person having 10 carefully arranged marks on the right cheek and 9 on the left cheek. The Kabanti type of mark is that where a person has 8 marks on the right cheek with 7 marks on the left. Arauti, on the other hand, entails a person having 2 distinctive marks each on his cheeks. The last in the type of marks popular within the inhabitants of the Emirate is Barbarity, where its bearer has 6 marks on the right cheek against 5 on the left cheek. Malam Yakubu Bagaye Warkla speak on the historical origin of such marks.
Wannan tsagar tun kafin a soma yaƙi ake yanta. Kasancewar su Kabawa a wancan lokacin manyan sana'o'in su duka cikin ruwa ne.
Oral tradition has it that traditional marks dates back to many centuries in Kabiland. Kabawa by tradition are mainly fishermen and rice farmers, and those occupations entail dealing with a lot of water, necessitating for women to live out their children in it. To avoid cases of mistaken identity, the marks were introduced so that a nursing mother does not have her child replaced for whatever reason. The reasons that have necessitated a child having a mark in those days are no longer in existence nowadays. More so, Kabi, being a society that is largely influenced by Islam, no longer believe in such superstitious beliefs. Hence the reason for the gradual disappearance of the practice.
What is the feeling among those whose faces are adorned with such distinctive features?
I have never felt bothered that I have it on my face. In fact, it gives me a feeling of distinction and identity wherever I find myself. This gives me a distinctive identity as a royal member of the Argungu Emirate.
Very educative, I must say. Now let's head to Lagos. Creating a solid financial base is predicated on the protection of valuable assets with adequate insurance policies needed to safeguard the earning power and possessions of individuals. But are Nigerians aware of this information? Well, Adiola Kamiakere, who sought public views on this, now reports.
I know that citizens are entitled to some rights in the case of accidents that may be natural occurring or that is not due to their own fault.
If I'm on an assignment from a company and I encounter something like that, the company I'm working for, I have 100% right to look after me because I'm running an errand for the company.
Human and material assets are susceptible to accidents, dangers and losses in the face of unexpected natural and man-made disasters. Every year, thousands of people die and many more injured in accidents of various sorts, with victims suffering pain, disablement and financial loss. This, however, is where insurance comes in as a financial product that reduces or eliminates the cost of loss caused by different types of risk.
The very class of insurance that anybody chose to make use of will determine the nature of his compensation that he will get.
What are the existing compensatory structures for victims of preventable accidents, with exclusive reference to the ill-fated 21-story building at Ikoyi?
Where government said they will take care of, they will pay the bill of those involved. They are just doing it on a humanitarian basis. If unexpected happen and the person does not have insurance cover, it's on its own. Because normally they're supposed to have what we call contractor or risk policy.
Insurance experts say a group life assurance policy should be instituted by all employers for a minimum of 5 employees.
Those workers are not casual workers. If they are casual workers without any firm contract of employment, I'm afraid they have any right to claim against their employers.
Underwriters recommend insurance policies for corporate entities, income earners, and their dependents. Otherwise, when the unexpected occurs, victims will have limited options on how to recoup their losses or recover quickly from the aftermath.
In continuation of our sectoral review series for the year 2021, Abdul Malik Hassan takes us through some of the landmark achievements of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, challenges and projections for 2022.
Brigadier General Buba Marwa is the man leading the team on the drug war, and 2021 was quite engaging. The cannabis plantations, airports and interstate boundaries were the battlegrounds. So many battles were fought in 2021 that resulted in the arrest of more than 11,000 drug traffickers, confiscation of over 3.3 million kilograms of illicit substances, and destruction of 20 tons of the substances, with an estimated street value of over 50 billion naira.
To some naysayers, these figures may not mean much, but as they say, nothing is big or small except by comparison. By comparing these results to those of previous years, one can see a difference so clearly that it begs the question: the secret is the grace of God and the motivation of the officers and men, the agency.
Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, were frequent in intercepting suspects of cocaine and heroin trafficking. Same energy was also deployed in flashpoint states, where clandestine laboratories were shut down, as well as cannabis farms. David Moses, not real name, was one of the suspects caught with 2.3 billion naira worth of cocaine, an action that may have left him full of regrets.
Not all that curators are good, because they are there deceiving you, telling you to do this and do that with empty guarantee. There is no guarantee in doing something illegal.
It's now a guerrilla warfare. The drug lords are getting smarter in their strategies, so NDLEA is also deploying more strategies to neutralize them. International collaborations were strengthened.
We work with the Americans, with the French, with the Germans, Indians, British, and others within the continent. This collaboration is key to our successes because of intelligence sharing, training, equipment. So it's very important that we maintain this in the coming year.
And 2022 to 2025 Master Plan on National Drug Control launched to give the NDLEA a clear-cut direction on the fight.
This is a scourge that is ravaging the country, and government cannot do it alone, because we actually need the cooperation, the active collaboration of the populace.
Expectations remain high, with focus on what the 2022 budget will accomplish. Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Let's talk sports. Nigeria Football Federation has endorsed the technical committee proposal for the appointment of Yossi Pesero as the new head coach of Super Eagles. This is one of the decisions reached at the end of the NFF Executive Committee meeting held via video conference on Wednesday. Yossi Pesero will succeed Gerrit Rohr, who was sacked recently. The committee, however, resolved that the interim coach will lead the Super Eagles to the AFCON 2021 in Cameroon, with Pesero playing the role of observer. The Executive Committee mandated the Technical and Development Committee as well as the NFF Secretariat to organize a friendly match for the Super Eagles when the team arrives in Cameroon for the AFCON 2021. 8 goals were scored in the week 3 of the Nigeria Professional Football League. This and more on our sports update.
The newly renovated Moshood Abiola National Stadium pitch is now awaiting the first training of the Super Eagles. The invited players are expected to resume camping on Wednesday. They last trained on the pitch in 2015 during AFCON qualifier against Sudan. The pitch was recently handed over to the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development by the Dangote Group, which renovated it under Adopt a Facility initiative of the federal government. Still on AFCON, Nigeria's group opponents Sudan are now in Cameroon, and they have set up camp in Yaoundé before leaving for the city of Garoua, where it will play Group D matches with Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria and Egypt. The 1970 African champions will be making their 9th appearance at the event. Sudan has scheduled 2 friendly games against Ethiopia on Thursday and Zimbabwe 3 days later. In the Nigeria Professional Football League, it was win galore for some teams, others shared points, while some could not muster any point at all. And the UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman has been named the Fighter of the Year by respected mixed martial arts website, beating Charles Oliveira, Cyril Gane, Juliana Pena, among others. The Nigerian Nightmare polled a total of 107 points to win the award, while Oliveira finished second with 87 points. Usman won all the 3 fights he went for this year. The Nigerian has also been ranked the best pound-for-pound fighter after earning knockout victories in 3 of his last 5 fights. In another development, 4-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka is in Melbourne ahead of 2020 Australian Open, which begins on the 17th of next month. She was photographed walking through the airport solo, sporting glasses and a face mask as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. The defending champion is set to compete in the Melbourne Somerset, which will take place next week. Femi Johnson, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari shares in grief over the passing of the traditional ruler of Mangu, Mishagam Mwagul Nelson Bafor. The president sends condolences to government and people of Plateau State. Mwagavul-speaking people in North Central Nigeria urging solace in the good works of the traditional ruler, whose interest in the peace and unity of the country was evident. President Buhari believes the departed leader stood for what was right in community development, lived to promote the values of fairness and justice as custodian of the tradition, and roundly advocated trust in God and love for neighbors and visitors. As the revered traditional ruler seats the throne of his ancestors, the president urges family, friends and associates to approximate his values and remain steadfast in sustaining his legacies. And with that, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But before we go, remember to connect with the NTA stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umaruba. Enjoy the rest of your night.